Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's Mental Health Tuesday session. My name is Mahmoud Ali, your moderator for today's session. I'm thrilled to welcome you in today's platform, and we say this platform is a safe, nurturing space where we discuss real mental health challenges, unpack them, and later, at the end of the day, live empowered. Today's session is both timely and powerful. We are talking about how to turn social pressure into growth opportunity. And here with us, we have Madam Brenda Onyango, who is going to help us unpack this. And she is a wonderful counselor and psychologist. Madam Brenda, karibu sana. Tell us who you are and what you're doing. Madam Brenda?
Speaking.
Yes, pick it on.
Yes, so I'm saying that nimefurahi sana kujiunga nanyi for this several sessions that we've been having. And I want to welcome everyone for the session. Thank you.
Welcome, Madam Brenda. We understand you are a wonderful counselor and psychologist in more so the matters of mental health. And here today, as we are talking about this whole topic of how to turn social pressure into growth opportunity, maybe back to my audience. Hapa tupo huru, uko na nafasi, unaweza kutuandikia pale kwenye call chat kama uko na swali lolote la kuuliza. Pia unaweza kunyoosha mkono na tutakupatia fursa ya kuweza kuuliza swali lako ama labda kupeana changizo. Na mada ya leo itakuwa mada changamfu, mada ambayo tunataka kila mmoja aweze kuchangia. Kwa hiyo endapo utaguswa, usijibane, tutakupatia fursa na utaweza kuzungumza nasi, na kama ni swali utaweza kupata fursa ya kuuliza moja kwa moja kwa mzungumzaji wetu Madam Brenda. Labda nikirudi tena kwako Brenda, nikuulize kulingana na hii mada ambayo tunaizungumzia, how to turn social pressure into a growth opportunity. Let's get into it. To begin with, what exactly is social pressure and what's the worst it can do to an individual, mentally, emotionally, or socially?
Okay, thank you so much Mahmoud for that. So social pressure ni mada ambayo tumeguzia sana kwa hii platform na tumeiongelelea. So kwa leo, first we want to understand what social pressure is, and social pressure refer to the influence that people succumb, and it may make people, it affect people's thought, feelings, and behaviors. And these social pressures can come from different groups. They can either be direct or indirect. They can come from friends, they can come from community, social media. So these are the influence that we get, and it affects how we behave, how we think, and how we feel. And it can affect us directly or indirectly. And when I talk about social pressure, we have different types of social pressures. And if I want to talk about some of the different social pressures that we have, number one, tuko na ile pressure ambayo inaitwa peer pressure, ambayo tunajua ile some friends or people of the same age group wanajipea ile pressure, wanajiambia kwamba kuna vile wanafaa kufanya vitu. Na hiyo unapeana example, na for example watu ambao wako campus ambao wanafikiria ya kwamba tukitumia drugs it is cool, you know, is a good thing to do and you belong to that group. So wale watu ambao wako kwa hiyo same age group ambao tunaita peers wanafanya zile vitu ambao wanaona wenzao wakifanya juu wanataka kubelong. So hiyo inaitwa peer pressure. Tuko na ile type of social pressure ambayo tuko nayo inaitwa cultural or societal norms. Na hizi zinatokana na zile expectation or from traditions or religion or society. Kwa sababu kuna society ambazo tunaishi ambazo ina expect tufanye vitu a certain way. these ways they might not be the right ways, but kwa sababu religion inataka, tradition inasema tunafanya hivi, so kuna hiyo social expectation inatokana na cultural norms. Na nikikumbuka last time tukiwa kwa session yetu tuliongelelea vitu kama cultural zinatokana kusemekana, for example nipeane example na issues za GBV ambayo inasemekana ya kwamba culturally wanawake wanafaa kufanya hivi, wanafaa kuvumilia, ama wanaume hawafai kulia. You see, hizo ni vitu ambazo society zinaamini na ni inaleta, kuna hizo social pressure ambayo zinaleta juu kama mwanamume kuna vile nafaa kujituma, kuna vitu ambazo zifai kufanya. Then tuko na social pressure ambazo zinatokana na issues of family expectations. Family expectation about how we should behave, career. We've seen people even who goes to different careers because of what their family expect them to do. So it's still a pressure that is coming from a family perspective. And then we have the one that we are really facing right now, which is social media. You see people, like the media is telling us there are so many information in the media on how people should carry out themselves. And we find young people, the youth today, succumb to those pressures where we want to do things a certain way, the way we saw it in a movie, or the trends that are there. We are not saying that the trends are bad, but some of the trends has those negative effects. And we're going to talk about some of the effects of these social pressures and how they can affect us. So as we proceed, there are some of the worst effects of social pressures that we've seen out of those 4 types that I've given out. And one of them is loss of identity. We've seen so many youths, so many people. And when I talk about social pressures, I think because our platform has a lot of youth, and that's why I'm giving a lot of examples with youth. But for social pressures, it sometimes affect even people who are not youth, because remember, I've talked about beliefs, I've talked about family pressures and peers. So it's not about the youth, but because the number of people that we have are youth. So people, there's this loss of identity where people may suppress their true feelings, beliefs, dreams just to fit. And I've given an example of things like peer pressure, like in campus. You want to be cool and fit in a certain group of people, and then you have to behave like them. Then remember, that person is not you. You want to just fit in a certain group. So we lose your true self. And this one, we can even see this effect. It can even come in cultural family pressure. And I can even give an example. For example, in the village, we've seen those women groups where we are saying as women, we just need to buy this, we need to do this. So because of this social pressures and peer pressures, you will find yourself involving in things that you don't want as you for yourself. And you do them because you want to fit in a certain society, in a certain family, in a certain cultures, in a certain even career. So you lose who you are, you lose your identity, you lose even your true feelings. And last time tukiwa kwa session, Doris alikuwa amefanya example ambayo watu ambao wanaenda kwa career kwa sababu because wanasema this time round, this is what people are doing, this what has a lot of money. And if you go there and do it because of the pressure, the social pressures that had made you to go there, you will find yourself, that's where you lose your true feelings, because you can't become a teacher when you don't have a passion. Hata wachana na mwalimu, kama mimi sasa mwenye ni mwana saikolojia, nikienda huko na social pressure, sitafanya kazi yangu na passion na kila kitu yenye tuko. So kitu ingine kubwa sana ni loss of identity, and it's a very big challenge that we are facing because we have so many people who are even getting, because my next point is mental health issues. The moment you lose your identity, you will start living in a way you want to impress people. You want to live in a way unataka kuimpress watu ndio fit hapo. Na maybe you don't have the capacity to fit there. You're just doing it because you want to impress people and you want to fit in place. You will start having mental health issues, which is our next point, because you are trying to fit in something. So you start having prolonged mental health issues. You will start having issues of depression, self-esteem, even self-harm, because this is where we find people that in a way, when you can't fit, you can't make it, you've tried to do everything else to be in a certain level, and then you lose hope because you can, and then you even decide that if I don't fit here, people will start laughing at me. People will start, how will people see me? And this is when you have self-esteem issues. You will even have self-harm. And we've seen this with the issues of even some femicide or GBV cases where people are in maybe toxic household or whatever, and they don't want to leave because the society says that maybe the societal norms that you should not do this, and then you stay there and you end up harming yourself or getting harmed because of the social pressure that is there and the norms that are there out there about a certain situation. And then my next point is risky or harmful behaviors. You see, I've talked about the issues of drug abuse. Social pressures can make people engage in different things, like, for example, drug abuse. And even we have violence. We have some activities that people are involving that are violence, or even issues of unsafe sex. Yeah, you've seen where the people have come out with because issues of sexual are the issues we have even for the youth, and people will start having ideas on even unsafe sex, on how not to. We've seen how our young people have those ideas on, you see, if you do this, you cannot, because young people are even scared of issues of pregnancy than even the issues of diseases. So they'll have ways of how not to get pregnant, and maybe there'll be unsafe sex that will make them have different maybe diseases, like sexual diseases. So we have risky behaviors that social pressure can bring, and I've given example, and some of them can even be crimes. We've seen when you want to fit in certain societies, you can do everything to fit. And I've given example, even you are in a pressure where you need money and you don't have a job, or the money you have is not enough. So you engage in other things that might be things that are criminal offenses that may lead to problems. So those are some of the things that social pressures can bring. And then again, we have suicidal thoughts. I've talked about mental health and I've talked about suicidal thoughts. These are two different things. Mental health issues, we've talked about the issues of anxiety, self-esteem, and these are because of prolonged pressure. When you are in that place where you have these mental health issues, there's this place where you start having, because you feel rejected, when you don't belong to those societal norms, or you are not living the way your family expect you to live, because families have expectations. And also social media right now, we see so many things, how people should live. We have the peers, we have the culture. So sometimes people feel rejected because they don't feel like they belong to that, they belong to the expectations of whatever circle that they belong to. So some of these people end up, because of shame, how will you tell people? What will people think about me? Some of them end up dying of suicide, or some of them have suicidal thoughts, unless maybe they seek for help so that they can be assisted. Na ningependa kupeana example zaidi ya issues of tukiongelea mambo ya social pressure. And for example, you might have a teenager, like this is example I've given already, the example of which is common because we have youth here, tuko na wazazi hapa. We might have these issues of teenagers in like in campus, where drinking alcohol is cool these days. You become cool, and that is the way to retain friends. And if you're not doing that, and then now you are not cool enough. And we've seen that happening even in the society. So because of all your friends are doing that, even if you don't want, you will find yourself doing that, so that because you have the fear to be left out, because you will stay without friends. So what will you do? So you end up engaging in a social pressure. So thank you so much. Unless mwenzangu Doris ako na kitu ya kuongeza, after hapo, asante.
I don't think I have so much to add, but yeah, I'm following the conversation, and I concur with my colleague that yes, social pressure has got the worst effects ever, and most of them manifest themselves through the mental health issues that people are going through. A very good example is how nowadays people just find themselves in engaging in crimes, especially here in Kwale, in the context of Kwale. I always like using Kwale because that's where I am now. The Panga boys, the Panga boys, or we call them organized crimes for the youth. We've seen that most of the time these boys don't even know what they are doing. Actually, most of the young boys, the 11 years boys, the 12 years, the 14 years boys, when they are captured and they are taken to court, they don't even know why they are in that group. They don't even know when it started and how they got themselves into such. But when you go deep down, you find that they were at risk. At some point, they were at risk of the social pressure and the norms and how cool being in a gang looks like. The curiosity, like, how is it that these people just roam around the village, they don't go to school, hawaendi shule, wanakaa tu wana pesa za kukula mgoka, wazazi wao hawasemi kitu, wana tags, they have color codes, wamejipea majina, and imagine these people, these groups have got names. They assign very big names, strange names, very powerful names. So you find that young boys or young girls are attracted to such a norm or such a pressure or such influence because they want also to feel the same way these other boys are feeling. And because it has become more of a norm, the gang culture has become a norm here in the coastal region, and it looks like it's cool the way Brenda has said. You find out that many children, because they are children, most of them, are attracted, are being pressured, they are being pushed to that pressure and that influence, and then they find themselves doing those things which are crime or criminal in nature, and they are major crimes. They are capital crimes because they are charged with robbery with violence. Robbery with violence is a major crime in Kenya. It is one of the capital crimes that can be, and it has the highest, the maximum punishment or punishable by law. Just that they are children, it might be lighter. So I just want to insist that social pressure or the pressure that most of us as human beings face has got the worst major effects that any human being can find themselves in. So yeah, I think participants wamesikia na hata wao wako na they have the examples. Even myself at some point I was under pressure of something and it really messed me badly, yeah, you know. And sometimes I even sit down and I say, hey, it is only God who alinisaidia nikatoka pale mahali. Imagine ningeendelea then. So most of the time social pressure inaleta mambo mabaya kushinda mambo mazuri. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Madam Doris, for your insightful thoughts and takeaways. Back to my audience, labda ni waeleze kuwa as per what Madam Brenda and Madam Doris been telling us about the pressure, and Madam Brenda has been very lightly trying to tell us the type and the effects of this pressure. At your own life that you've been living, I want you to look at yourself. What social pressure has ever come to your life, and what was the possible way that you used to ensure that you overcome that social pressure? You are free. You can raise up your hand. We'll give you a chance to share with us, or you can just put it in the call chat and we are going to read it. And even if you have that social pressure up to date and you feel that there's no way that you can go against it, kindly just put it in the call chat and we are going to read it to our speaker, and she'll be able to give us insightful ways on how you can cope with that social pressure. Maybe Madam Brenda, you've been telling us that these things have been happening. In your line of duty, have you encountered any real life cases or relatable stories that show the impact of this pressure?
Yes, Mohamud. Vile Madam Royce amesema sana sana na watoto wetu, the youth, we have so many social pressures that are we have evident result in the community, and mimi ningependa kuongelelea issue ambayo tumekuwa tukiongelelea kama issue za GBV. Tumeona ya kwamba tuko na societal pressures ambayo inaambia wasichana wetu wadogo ya kwamba wakiolewa unafaa kuvumilia, ufai kutoka, unafaa kukaa, na watu wanakaa pale ambazo wako na, we have seen girls dying because they don't want to leave, they don't want to go back home because the society has on how they talk about when you are a divorcee, they have that social pressure about divorce and everything else, so you can't go back. Tukiwachana na hiyo mambo, kuna hizi mambo za drugs. We've seen people, so many young people going into drugs, like in campuses, because other people are doing it, because it is a cool thing. And most of the clients we've been even dealing with, they don't have any reason why they are taking drugs. They're not taking drugs because it is a, you can, there are people who are engaged in drug because it is a coping mechanism. But for most cases, you find out it's not a coping mechanism. It's the group that they're working with is the one that is leading to that one. And we even have the issues of crime. We have so many high crime rate, and most of them comes because of the issues of social pressure, because the way Doris has explained the issues that are happening in Kwale, where she works, you find out that even the cases that I've seen, you find out that people get into crimes because of easy mambo, because of the social pressures that are there, na kwa sababu wanataka kufit kwa society. Wamepewa zile pressure, wanataka kufit kwa society, wakue certain. Na tumeona hata hizi vitu kwa social media, kwa wale vijana ambao walikuwa nakufa, sorry to use the example, but tumeona zile vitu ambazo zilikuwa zinafanyika Kilimani. We see so many young people dying. We've seen them on TV because they are doing dirty deals. And it's because of that social pressure of that group where we need to drive good cars, we need to have money, I need to have iPhone, I need to have this. And we've seen that with people these days. The people think that, you need to have an iPhone, for me I need to have this, then they will engage in anything else in crime, so that they live that life that they think is a cool life. So Mohammed, I'll agree that in our daily life situation, we've seen these social pressures, and we've even seen some, like I'll give you an example where you feel like you need, like I've seen another social pressure where people think like Mwanaisha alikuwa anapea an example last time akisema, where people think that Mwanaisha is working, and you must be, when you go to the village, you must give, you see, and you find people even going into negative coping mechanisms, like having debts, because you feel like there are some obligations you have to fulfill, even if you don't have money. You have, when you go back home there, you have to give people money, and this comes with cultural, some of them are cultural norms. So and so ametoka Mombasani anafanya kazi, na ukifika nyumbani kuanzia na pale kwa watu wa bodaboda lazima upeane tips kidogo kidogo hapa na pale, na hata kama hauna itabidi umeingia kwa madeni na kila kitu, na hizo vitu zote ni social pressure. Juu saa zile umekata, unasema watu wataniona aje, how will they think about me, na hizo zote zinatokana na issue, because social pressure ni vile vile watu wana zile vitu ambazo people think this is the correct way to do things. So zile expectation ambazo watu wako nazo sio zile wewe uko nazo, ni expectations za watu zile wako nazo venye mtu anafaa kuishi. So easy examples tuko nazo kila siku, na I know after this session kuna mtu ambaye alikuwa na go through social pressure, maybe hajajua kama hiyo kitu ni social pressure, but with the practical examples we are giving, we are able to see some of the social pressures that we have. What do people expect us, and because I know as we proceed, we are also going to talk about the positive side, because not all social pressures are bad, because people have expectation, yes, but we have those expectations that are negative. The same way when we talk about issues of culture, we have harmful cultural practices and we have good cultural practices. It's the same way social pressures, tuko na zile expectation ambazo zinaweza kuwa positive kwako, at the same time tuko na expectations ambazo zinaweza kuwa negative na zikulete impact kwenye maisha yako. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Brenda, for giving us some of our case studies regarding the issue of social pressure. Maybe We mostly hear about social pressure as a negative force, but is it possible for it to be positive? Maybe can you explain how exactly social pressure can push someone towards productivity or self betterment?
Yes, vile nimeeleza ya kwamba nilikuwa nasema tukiendelea kuongea tutaongelelea how the social pressures can be positive, because nimesema ya kwamba wanasemanga kile ambayo iko na kitu mzuri, kitu mbaya lazima ikuwe na kitu mzuri. So social pressures tumesema ya kwamba ni zile expectations za watu zenye zina influence your thought, your behaviors, your feelings and how you do things. So these are external people's expectation or group, societal, religious expectation that affect how you think, how you feel, and they also affect your behaviors. So yes, we have some of social pressures can be positive. We have the ones that can be positive and can change your life on how you think, because remember, it's about thoughts and behaviors. So our behaviors and thoughts can be positive and they can be negative. So when I talk about the positive sides of social pressure, this is how social pressures can be positive to a person. For example, encouraging good habits. You see, because we talked about expectation, you can be surrounded na wale watu ambayo wanafanya vitu mzuri. For example, tuko na watu ambao wanafanya exercise, wanajog, they do those exercises, because we say that people do different things for do different things to, it's called what, as a mechanism, like it's called what, like coping mechanism. So you can find people, instead of doing drugs, they're just doing exercise. A group of friends, they're telling you to do exercise, and this can motivate you. Of course, if you decided to do exercise in school every Friday, maybe your friends, they're going for games, they're going to do other things, they are encouraging good habits in you. So instead of doing drugs, you are doing something positive. So this is also the issue of peer pressure. I talked about, you might have friends, maybe they're doing drugs, maybe they're engaging in other sexual activity that are not good, or they're engaging in maybe criminal activities. But at the same time, you can have friends who are engaging in good things that are encouraging your good habit. So that is also, remember, is also a positive, is a social pressure, but it's a positive one, because we are just doing exercise. Like, for example, I'll give example with where I work, and I have some of my colleagues here. Like where I work in the DAB, it is a place that is a refugee camp. There's not so much activity to do. But on Fridays, people will chill. The best way to chill is people say that let's go and have some drinks. You know, as we work from Monday to Friday and we do nothing, so let's just have drinks. And you know, that is a coping mechanism. The more you drink, the more you can be addicted to alcohol. But we have other group of friends who are saying, as on Friday, we go for jogging because we have seen those people. So you see, the person who will join the other group is a positive pressure, because it's something that is encouraging their behavior, is something that is good for their health. But if you do it the other way, it will be negative. And then positive pressure can also promote our moral behavior. Like, for example, societies can put pressure to people. Like, we have societies when they say, if you are found stealing, they will burn you alive. You see, they have seen that those societies, when you're found doing a certain thing, when you're found doing adultery, there's a way it used to be done. So these things promote our moral behavior, because stealing is not a good thing. You see, adultery, like things like abusing people, either sexually or physically, is. But we have societies that have expectation that if you are found doing this, this is what we will do for you as a society. As a church, if we find you doing this, this is what our religious expectation is. Remember, social pressures are more of expectation. So this expectation sometimes shapes people's moral behaviors. So that is how also a social pressure can be good, because you'll find that that society or a community is discouraging maybe issues of corruption or issues of stealing. And we've even seen this in even people, they have those rules in this, they say, in this community, we don't do this. If you're found doing this, if you're found stealing, this is what will happen to you. If you're found doing this is what will happen to you. So those are some of the expectations that we see there that promote your behavior, how you carry yourself, even in that a specific society. Remember, I talked about types of expectation, and I mentioned we have the cultural, religious, peer pressure, social media. So we have those things. Another way that a social pressure can impact you positively is by boosting your motivation, like being in a high achieving group. not all groups are bad. I've talked about groups. And when I was talking about them, I was talking about the effect. But not all groups are bad. We have groups that are helpful. We have those groups that have good motives. People are having goals. People are achieving things, and they are even helping our growth. You find yourself in some groups that they will help you grow as a person. And we've seen even those women groups. Some of them. I gave an example of where people expect that when you are here, you should do this, but we have some of them that will help you grow as a person and bring your potential well out of you. And then some of them, some of the things that we've talked about harmful behaviors when I was talking about the negative sides of social pressures. But those behaviors, you can have some good positive pressure where it can help you, it can prevent you to involve in harmful behaviors. For example, I've talked about risky behaviors, violence, and safe. Maybe I've talked about violence, we've talked about femicide, but you can find a social pressure like these days people are talking about operation against femicide, and they're raising a lot of awareness. And you see that is something that is there on social media and is fighting for the right of a certain people. We've seen different people coming up with movement. You see, even the issues of against drugs, we've seen those movements everywhere. And some of them, you see these things, they prevent those risky behaviors. They prevent your behaviors instead of you going to things like alcohol, like unsafe sex, violence, criminal offenses. They alter your behaviors and you engage in positive behaviors. You avoid these risky behaviors. But it depends also with the people. Like when you talk about peer pressure, who are your peers? Not all peers engage in drugs, but still remember the things that they influence you to do. There are also social pressures because they're influence, and when they say that, me, I expect my friends, we should go to church on Sunday, or we should be going to mosque, we should be doing this with my friends. Some of these things are positive, and they help you to avoid engaging yourself into risky behaviors. And also sometimes they encourage us to seek for help. When you talk about everything else, when you talk about mental health and everything else, one of the things what tunasisitiza ya kwamba ni issues za seeking for help. And seeking for help, saa zingine kuna watu wajui ya kwamba wanaweza ask for help. Kuna watu tajui ya kwamba kuna watu kama counselors ambao unaweza ona ukiwa na shida hapa na pale, lakini kuna hizi groups ambazo tunaweza kuwa nazo kama hii ambayo tuko nayo sasa hivi. People are talking about mental health, people are talking about seeking help, people are talking about different things, and they can also help people to know where to seek help. They encourage people to seek help. We have people who know that they should seek help, but they are not convinced that counseling can really help someone. When you have a problem, you should go and you should just go and drink. I've seen people saying that mimi siwezi enda kuongelesha mtu chini nimwambie shida zangu, mimi siende tu nikunywe pombe, hiyo shida itaisha, ama ndio nikavute bangi. Lakini ukiwa na saa zingine hizi positive social pressures can actually encourage that, so that we have so many people who will be seeking for help when they have different issues. So coping with pressure, I think it can really, when we do these things differently, because remember we said that when we're looking at something, you look at something holistically. So when you're looking at positive pressure, you look at the negative part and the positive part. And I know now from this session we've learned, and we also know our lives, we are here, and we know what are the pressures that we have, and are they positive or are they negative? Are they something that can build you as a person? Are they something that can help you retrace how you feel, your thoughts? Can they change your behaviors to positive or negative? So thank you so much.
Maybe
Na
sorry,
Doris,
Mahmoud, maybe I can say something about the positive. I'll give a personal example. You can hear me?
Yes, Doris.
Yeah, so a personal example of how pressure got me something good is that I remember when I was still in school, I used to see, you know, in our school, there are these people who came to do motivational speaking. There are groups of students or university students who came, and they were really, you know, behaving in a certain manner while we were in primary, in secondary. So you see these people, they are coming to your school, they are dressed in a certain manner, they are driving. There is a way that these people who go to university by that time, they used to look. So when they used to come to our school, I was like, kumbe hata mimi yule amekaa vizuri. Yule, I admire that person. I admire those people who amekaa vizuri. And then when they speak this English where they use the nose to produce that sound, the English from England. So I was like, hey, na mimi nasoma hapo shule ambayo ni ya chini chini, hata kizungu ulikuwa hatuongei, hata hatujui Kiswahili yenyewe ni shida. So I used to admire these people. So the pressure, the influence that these university students and motivational speakers used to bring to that school, those schools that I used to attend, really influenced me. I was really attracted, na nilikuwa ule mtu mwenye I used not to do well in school sometimes back, but with that influence, that pressure that these people brought into the school, I really said, no. I have to be like one of those. I want one day also to stand in front of students from home and say something and use that nose to produce that sound or that language that these people are producing. So actually that positive pressure or that positive influence or social influence that this group of people brought down there to that school really made something or brought out the motivation in me. They now started helping me to grow, you know, the self-drive, the anticipation, the looking forward to doing good in school, looking forward to also join the university, you know. Uko mdogo pale, I come from Nairobi University, University of Nairobi also, and you want to feel, you want to also identify as a university student. You also want to study, you know, maybe nursing, you want to study this and that, or law, and they used to come, they're dressed well. You also want to say, you also there and saying, mimi pia nataka nikiwa ile age nikuwa naweza vaa vile amevaa yule, mimi pia niwe naweza kutembea vile anatembea, na pia kujigamba kama mimi ni mtoto wa chuo kikuu. And I think it worked so well, and now here I am, and I'm even now inspiring other people. So social pressure, yes, can be positive, very positive, but we have to be very careful on what type of influence to attract, because they come all round. Haikuji kwambia mimi ni positive pia, mimi ni positive pressure, ama mimi ni positive social influence. It just comes all over. It's up to you as a person now to really identify, hii ni ile pressure nzuri ama hii ni ile influence nzuri, lakini hii ingine hapana, hii ni ile ambayo itanipeleka pabaya. Na unajua kitu kibaya, vitu vibaya hii dunia hukuja kwa wingi kushinda vitu vizuri. And so is social pressure. Social pressure inakuja kwa wingi ile mbaya kuliko ile nzuri. Ile nzuri inakuwa si rahisi ugundue social pressure nzuri. Siku zote ni rahisi kugundua ile social pressure ambayo ni mbaya, kwa sababu it's more attractive. For example, let's say social pressure ya kwenda religious social pressure, ile ya kwamba watu waende msikitini, waende makanisani, waabudu Mungu nini, na ile ya kwenda club, ni gani inavutia watu wengi, ama ni gani inavutia haraka? Ya haraka ni ile ya club, manake kule kuna starehe nyingi, kule kuna kuhave fun, kule hakuna kutumika, hakuna kusumbuana nini, ni ile tu unajiingiza pale. Lakini hii ingine nzuri ambayo ni ya kutenda matendo mazuri ya religion mazuri, ambayo ni social influence, bado utapata haivutii kwa sana. Watu wengi wanaiona hapana, this is boring. Hapana, this is no. Mimi, I don't want to start struggling. Me, I don't want to even think about this. So it's up to a person to know this is positive social pressure, and this is how it's going to affect me, and this is what I am choosing. Thank you so much. Back to you, Mahmoud.
Thank you so much, Madam Doris. Thank you, Madam Brenda, for enlightening us on matters of the positivity when it comes to issue of social pressure. Maybe, if I may ask Madam Brenda, we've talked about what social pressure is and how it can affect us. I would like us now to shift towards healing and strength on matters of this social pressure. Please walk us through some proven coping mechanism for managing or navigating the social pressure in helpful ways.
Okay, thank you so much Mahmoud, and thank you Doris for the insight. So vile Doris amesema na ameeleza ya kwamba social pressures ziko na zingine ni negative na zingine ni positive, na zile vitu negative ziko mingi zaidi, na zikikuja hazitakwambia ya kwamba mimi ni negative. Juu hata unaona mtu ukifanya hizo vitu unaona ni sawa sawa kabisa. That's why we are doing awareness, so that people are able to differentiate. So hizi social pressures ziko mingi na ziko kwa society, tunaishi kwa hii society na hatuwezi change vile watu wengine wanafikiria, because remember these are other people's expectation on how we should carry out ourselves, on how everything about us should be, how we should behave and everything else, and we cannot change people. So we have other coping mechanism now that we are in this society and things are the way they are right now. We have so many social pressures that are there in the community and in the society, and most of them are affecting people negatively. So how can you cope with this as a person so that you are able to overcome? And kitu ambayo ningependa kuongelea na napendanga hii point sana ni issue ya self-awareness. Self-awareness is very important because as a person you should be able to understand yourself, know yourself, and even know some of the triggers. When you're talking about self-awareness, and value clarification, we know our values and we also know we are aware of ourselves and we know what you can do. Because I remember when I was talking about the negative thing about self-identity, and when we were talking about self-identity, I talked about the issues of people losing themselves. You know your values, but because you want to fit in somewhere, you want to fit, you will utawachana na zile values zako because unashanga marafiki zangu wataniwacha nini. So kuwa na self awareness na value clarification, kuwa mtu ambaye anaweza simama na values zake and understand your triggers. What kind of social situation pressure you the most? Know your triggers and know things you can overcome. You know, when we normally what tunasema watu wa mental health ya kwamba when you know yourself and understand yourself, you are able to know even your triggers and seek help before you fall into other things. So even you as a person, know what kind of social pressures pressure you the most. For example, nitapeana tu kwa mifano. Nimepeana mifano ambayo zile mtu anasema tunatoa stress ni Friday. Friday ni siku ya kutoa stress. That is what the society says. So wewe mtu anakuambia tutoe stress, na pia wewe mahali umeketi unaona ni ukweli umefanya kazi Monday to Friday na umefanya kazi kabisa na unahitaji kutoa stress. Unaona utajipata umesema tu tuende tutoe stress, na nimesema hiyo kutoa stress si kitu mbaya. Utatoa siku ya kwanza, siku ya pili, siku ya tatu, siku ya nne utajikuta kwenye addiction. Na addiction ukishajikuta hiyo ni shida nyingine. So wewe jua kuna zile vitu mtu atakwambia unajua uwezi resist. But if you know your triggers, unajua mimi mtu akiniambia twende out ni kitu ambayo mimi sitakataa. So know yourself, know your triggers, because if you know your triggers, you'll be able to stand with your values. And also kitu kingine nimeongelea ni clarify your personal values. When you know what you stand for, it's easier to resist the pressure that goes against your principle. This is just about a principle. We say kila mtu ako na principles zake, kuna vitu ambazo unajua huwezi fanya. Na hii tunaanza na self-awareness. When you talk about self-awareness, we also talk about self-love and self-confidence. When you have self-confidence and these things that you can build, you believe in yourself. So even if people are going, you don't maanisha ya kwamba uko na shida na self-confidence yako. Self-confidence yako inaweza kuwa altered au jiamini. So hiyo ni kitu ya kwanza, na hii point napenda sana kusisitiza, na napenda sana after hii before tuendelee point nyingine, let's work on our self-confidence, self-awareness, self-love na kujiamini. This basically kujiamini your values, that you are actually doing the right thing if you know whatever you're doing is the right thing, believe in it, and also in your values. And then kitu nyingine ambayo ni coping skill ni cognitive reframing. Nikiongelelea mambo ya cognitive reframing, naongelelea mambo za challenge the negative thoughts. You see, I talked about that social pressures, they affect how we think. How we think is about our thoughts, our behaviors. And when we talk about cognitives, we only talk about thoughts. And sometimes you can reframe your beliefs like, I must fit in, you see. Like, it's okay to be different, you see. Like, it's okay to be different. That is a negative point. Like, it's okay not to engage in this activity, criminal activity. It's okay right now, I'm a student. I can go to school. When I finish school, I'll get a job and I'll be like other people. I don't have to have an iPhone right now. I've just finished Form 4 and you can, not that having an iPhone is bad, but you know the pressure I'm talking about where people think that they need to have a certain things at a certain time. They need to do this. So when I'm talking about challenging your negative thoughts, is like saying that I know I don't have right now, but I'm working hard for it and it is okay. You know, the right time will come. That is now you challenging your thoughts. And talking about repressing beliefs is like I must fit in. You know, that one is now a negative one. Like, because now that one is when you are feeling left out, you are feeling like you need to fit in, it will affect your self-esteem, your friends are doing this, and then you have to do what your friends do. Just challenge your thoughts and say, instead of saying I must fit in, I can just say it's okay not to do this because you'll do it at the right time. You'll do it at this time. It is okay to walk out. It is okay to do things at my own time. And tumekuwa na issues kama nikiongelea issues za cultural pressures. Tumekuwa na issue ambayo ya forced marriages, ambayo unapata wasichana ama wavulana wanaambiwa sasa, wewe unajua umaliza shuleni, hujapata kazi, lakini hata ukiwa form 4 bado umefika 24 years, wewe lazima tukutafutie bibi ama lazima tukufanyie hivi. Tumeona kwa hizi marginalized areas, ama hata watu wengine tu, youth wengine unapata tu wanajiambia, unajua ukifika hii mwaka lazima ufanye hivi na hivi, lazima uengage, uwezi kuwa uko form 4 na hujaionja hii kitu. Hizo ni vitu ambazo unaweza change how you think about them, because wewe unajua when right now that is something that you cannot, is not a must to engage in. When it reaches the right time of you to get married or have girlfriends, because I know I'm talking to the youth, that's why I'm giving these examples. Don't succumb to those pressures that you if you don't have a girlfriend now, you don't belong to the same class with everyone. If you are not doing drugs, you are not smoking, you don't have an iPhone, or you don't have what type of a car. You know, these days young people have so many pressures that they must achieve a lot of things at a certain age. Just reframe your thoughts on how you think about them. And when you're talking about rephrasing your thoughts, also rephrase the things that you engage yourself with. People, we have so many things that gives us social pressures, like so many things that we watch, the channels that we engage ourselves with that gives you so much pressure on social media. We talked about social media pressure, where you see a friend you've not seen for, I don't know, since Form 4. You've seen them posting houses they are building, and you see them posting Mercedes and up there and there, and now you want to kill yourself because you see that everybody is making it and you are still not making it. So always learn that you can change how you think and how you see the world. This is basically changing how you see the world. You can see the world differently and it can still work. Na Madam Luis pale alipeana example yake akiwa shuleni na mmeona, you can actually see. And then another thing also, focus on long-term outcomes. As a person, not everything comes so fast. Like, everything has its own time. There's that saying in the society that everything has their own time, and have your long-term, focus on your long-term outcome. Si hizi vitu za kidogo kidogo zinakuja after short time, wewe unaona hujaachieve. Na wewe ulikuwa na zile your long-term outcomes that you have been working for. For example, if you're in the university, some of your long-term outcomes is that you will finish school. After finishing, you graduate, you get a job. After getting a job, you get married, you have children. You see, those are long-term outcomes that you have to work for them, and they have to take time. Not you just waking up tomorrow and now you have a car, you have a house, you have iPhone, you want to travel, I don't know where. So focus on those also long-term outcomes, because they work. We cannot wake up one day and have everything. So focus on your long-term outcomes and work for them, because when you think about today, they'll affect your future. The choices you make today will affect your future. So make sure that the choices that you are making for your long-term outcomes are good choices. Because if you decided to go for shortcut and do criminal activity, remember there's that outcome that outcome that will come. And they'll also affect your future well-being if you make just choices today. Remember, your choices matter. So if you make wrong choices right now, for your future, you'll have those, it will affect your well-being. And when I talk about well-being, I talk about holistical well-being, that is mental well-being, emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, all those things. And they will affect how you think. Then another thing, healthy social support. You see, in life, people have friends, have families, have colleagues, have people that they can talk to. So always make sure that you have a healthy social support. Because remember, I'm talking about social pressures and those things that come from those people. So it depends with what social support are you building as a person. For you to have good, positive social and or coping mechanisms or positive social pressures, you have to build a healthy social support. Build friendships with people who respect your choices. A person who I will tell, like me, I have a friend, and she's in this meeting. She tell me that we can run every morning, and I tell her, for me, I cannot run. Me, I'll just take weight loss tea and I continue, you see. And she respects that. So have people who respect also your choices. Have friends who will tell them, I don't take alcohol, they'll say it's okay. You tell them, I don't do that, they'll respect that. Friends who are ready to build you. Surround yourself with positive people. People will influence you positively and talk to. Also, another thing, when you have these people that influence you positively, these are people you can talk to. These are people you can share your feelings with. These are people you trust. And these are people that can mentor you. These are people that can help you. Even if you succumb to some pressures there and tell them, they'll tell you, now leave that one. Yeah, that one will not help you, you see. So they'll be able to help you. Like, for example, I was giving an example with myself that my friend goes for runs, and she told me that we need to go, and I told her, me, I cannot go because for me, I want to take weight loss tea, me, I cannot run. And she was able to tell me that, you see, that weight loss tea will not help you. If you want to lose weight, you just come, you need to have your gym shoe, and we need to go for a run. That is the only thing you can do. So have people you can talk, you can share your feelings with, you can share the pressure that you succumb out there, and they'll be able to encourage you in a positive way. So social support is always very important, and is very important even for our own mental health, because it really helps you, because you have somebody you can talk to, somebody you can share with, and somebody for you. You see, a friend who means good for you will be able to tell you no if they can tell you. Not people just say yes. If you say, I want this, they say yes. They say the tomorrow you ask them the same question, and you tell them that decision I told you, I've now decided not to do it. They will again agree. Tomorrow, if you change mind and say, I want to do it, they again agree. You see, that is not a positive social support, because they are not able to influence you in a positive way. They're just agreeing with whatever you are saying, whether it is good, whether it is bad. So have those friends you can talk to, and you can engage with them in those decisions. And then another thing is stress management techniques. Some of these social pressures, they come with a lot of stress, like some of them, like for the societal, even for the peer pressures, they can really affect your mental health. And I've talked about the issues of maybe last week Doris alipeana example ya social pressure ingine ya kwamba kuna ile social pressure ya family ambayo iko na expectation, na hii inaweza hata peana example last week ile ambayo unapata kwa family level, kuna ile expectation wamesema lazima wewe kama mtoto wetu, wewe sasa unafaa kutake hizi responsibilities za nyumbani na ufanye hivi na hivi, na maybe wewe hauna hiyo capacity ya kufanya hivyo, lakini uko na ile expectation. Utaenda hapo, umeenda up in stress because you are doing everything to fulfill your duties whether you have money or not. Na tukaona kulikuwa na kesi last week on social media ya kijana ambaye inasemekana alipotea nyumbani kwa 14 years, and the sister was walking in the street, akampata. Alipatana na yeye kwa sababu ile time alitoroka nyumbani alikuwa 14 years. At 14 years he already had responsibilities. The parents was expecting him at 14 years to fulfill the responsibility of the family as the firstborn. You see, those things can really take you into stress. They can take you into depression, because watu wengi sana kama social pressures za family tunaogopa sana kusema no. Juu unasema ukisema no kuna ile guilt ambayo inakuja, so you will do everything to come, because that is a social pressure that is always very sensitive when we talk about it, because it needs a lot of boundaries that not so many people have the strength to make, and it come also with a lot of emotions, so it's a very sensitive sector. So unapatikana ya kwamba kuna watu wengi wanashindwa kusakam kama hiyo, so inatakikana sana mtu akuwe na hizo techniques za kuweza kudeal na stress management, so that, because when somebody is stressed, you'll not be able to make a decision. But when you work on your stress, you'll be able to make a decision when you are mentally stable. So kitu ingine ni very important ni hiyo, let's work on our stress management techniques, like create like outlets. Sometimes outlets ni vitu kama tumeongelea vitu kama journaling, because hizi pressures zingine zinakuja personal kama job. In job you'll find uko job unaambiwa ya kwamba Doris anafanya vizuri kukuliko, kila siku kuna pressure, unatakikana nifanye kazi vile Doris anafanya. Unaona hiyo ni kitu ambayo itani stress as a person. So lazima nijue vile nitadeal nayo. Juu maybe sina mtu wa kuongelelea, I've not dealt with it, is a pressure that I'm getting because they want me to work vile Madam Doris anafanya kazi, na mimi na Doris ni watu tofauti kabisa. So hapo lazima ukue na outlets, na outlets ni vitu kama nimeongelea hiyo social our social support, na kitu kingine muhimu kama nitaongelelea leo na nitawafunza ni vitu kama journaling. Najua sisi wengine tunajua journaling ni nini, saa zingine hauna mtu wa kuongelelea au kuongea nayo sana, but you can always talk your heart out somewhere. It helps you to release the stress, pressure that you have. And you can also practice this thing called journaling. It's a very good outlet where you can always just have a nice book and then write how you feel. And when you have this stress, something is stressing you, maybe we're not talking about it, but you can actually let your emotions out by journaling, just writing down how you feel in that book of yours. It will help you, the good outlet. Another good stress management skill is a physical activity, just doing regular exercise. It reduces stress hormones. Remember, when you talk about stress, stress involves also some hormones. So when you do exercise, it reduces this reduction of these hormones, and it boosts your confidence. So it will help you reduce some pressure. So when you feel stressed, because the social pressure will come and they'll come with stress. I've given the example of a job. I've given the example of family pressure, so they can come with that. Then another thing is also, let's learn to have goal setting and being focused. When you have your goals and your focus, it will help you succumb to pressure, because when you have your goals and you're already a focused person, it will help you know that this one, I was not supposed to achieve it now, and I know I'll achieve it at the right time. So it will help you get focused when you have your own goals, so you will not divert to anything else. So another thing is awareness, like what we are having right now. And thank you so much for this platform, because I know so many people today have learned so much about these social pressures, na vitu ambazo kuna watu wengine hawajui hata kama whatever they're going through is social pressure. So another thing is the education, like the psychoeducation session we're having right now, and we are teaching people about these social pressures, and we are telling them different things. It also a good coping, because it helps people to identify when they have social pressures and know how to deal with it. And then the last one I'll talk about, professional support. Seeking therapy, group support is a very good way also to cope with social pressures. Yeah. Thank you. Back to you, Mohamud. And also mwenzangu Doris akiwa na point ya kuongeza pale, umekaribishwa.
Thank you, Madam Brenda, for that insightful coverage when it comes to matters of coping mechanism for social pressure. When I look at my time, I see we are past our time, so we are going to use the little few minutes so that we wind up on the remaining aspect of our today's session. In a very fast way, Madam Brenda, you've talked about this social pressure. You've talked about the effect, the coping mechanism. There's a time it reaches whereby you find someone has gone to an extent whereby it's not easy or he is not able to cope with the pressure that he is going through, how can he turn that pressure into opportunities for personal growth?
Okay, thank you so much. I think I'll go very fast because of time. Number one, I want to use the first point that Madam Doris used, that there is this, you can learn from role models. For example, you look up to people who have successfully navigated social pressures and learn from their experience and strategies. Like Madam Doris is now our role model because she gave an example of when she was in school and now she had a social pressures and now she turned them in the opportunity, and that's why she is here today. So number one, also to learn from people. People give out their stories. So now they have been going through these social pressures. You learn from them and see on how they have the strategies they have used in the experience. And I'm glad we had that opportunity. Another thing is to take care. You see, is self-care. Self-care is one of the important things because taking care of your mental and physical well-being and living a healthy lifestyle enhances your ability to cope with stress and perform at your best. Because remember, self-care is all about taking care of ourselves, and when we take care of ourselves, we have that emotional stability to make decision and perform at your best. When you have stress, you know how to cope because you have that self-care activity. And normally we are being told that it's good to prioritize taking care of ourselves, and that if you're taking care of ourselves, we do it holistically. So when you are going through those things, they enhance your ability to cope with stress and perform at your best. Once you've coped with your stress, it will help you to perform. It will help you now to have that strength to perform better as a person. So another thing I'll talk about self-care. Another thing is to surround yourself with positive people, because we have those positive pressure. So when you have pressures from positive people that you surround yourself with, it will become an opportunity, because remember, now you are engaging yourself with individuals who are supportive and who will encourage your growth as a person. So it will turn it an opportunity for your growth because these people are positive. Another thing, it will also expand your comfort zone. You see, when you have some of these pressures that they keep you on top, you see, you step out of your comfort zone gradually, and this also can help you involve in new challenges or roles to push you grow personally or professionally. Like I've talked about the issue of me job being compared maybe by another colleague. You see, maybe there are things I'm not doing right. I'm just seated. That's why they're saying, Madam Brenda, we're not doing like Doris. But because now I'll access myself and see what is what that I'm not doing. So maybe I was in my comfort zone. So this one will help me to expand my steps gradually and change. It will help me to move from my comfort zone, just seated. You see, where I was just seated there and relaxing, and I'm not doing things that people are doing. So some of the pressures will help you to expand your comfort zone and do things maybe a different way. Another thing, they help us build resilience. You know what resilience is? This is the ability to bounce back. So when you develop resilience, it helps you to handle criticism, setbacks, and it helps you become a positive person. And I talk about this when I talk about self-awareness. When you know yourself, you understand yourself, and you have that self-confidence. So even people are telling you, oh, you umemaliza shule miaka moja hujapata kazi, you see, you already have that ability to have that resilience, because you are a person who know yourself, and you know, you are aware of how things are going, and at the right time vitu zitaenda tu vizuri. So it helps you also build your resilience on how to handle things in the society, how to handle people's expectation. So not all of them will actually affect you because you already have that resilience. So another one, ya mwisho ni kuset goals. It will help you set goals and also achieve your goals, because remember, these things, they give you challenge. It will define the goals that you can achieve and the ones you cannot achieve, because when you have pressures, remember, not everything I talked about, there are things you feel that you must achieve by this time, you see, but that is not the case. So when you have this pressure, they'll help you to set achievable goals you can achieve. You know, when we talk about setting goals, unawana ile smart. So it will help you set goals according to that SMART, and the goals that you can achieve, not goals that you just have in your mind and you cannot achieve, because now you are experiencing that pressure and you know what you can achieve and what you cannot achieve. So because time inaenda, I want to hand it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Brenda, for this session and taking us through the whole aspect on social pressure, the effects and the types, as well as the coping mechanism, and even enlightening us on how we can change this pressure into opportunities for personal growth. As we close, Brenda, what
Yes.
is your final word of encouragement to anyone struggling with social pressure, be it from family, society, peer, or expectation they place on themselves?
Okay, thank you so much. As I close, I just want to, number one, I want to thank everybody for joining. And I know that today we've learned so much. And this session is like an awareness session where you are able to know the types of social pressures and the social pressures that we are going through. So I know after this session, you are aware of different pressures that we have. But as we close, I want to just encourage everyone to work on their self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-love, because these things will really help you. Because remember, the effect of the way we react to everything, it starts with you. Everything change, how you respond, how you react, start with you. So if you build your self-confidence and you are aware of yourself and you have that self-love, it will help you have that resilience. It will help you know yourself, you know your goals, you know. So these things will not, you will not be shaken, because you know actually what to stand for as a person. So I think that hiyo ndio kitu ambayo naweza maliza nayo, na before niende ningetaka sana kushukuru my friends. I have so many friends who have joined, hata niko na mzazi ambaye amejoin, na nawashukuru sana kujoin, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Brenda Onyango, for your wisdom and compassion. And to all our participants, remember, pressure does not always have to break you. With the right mindset and tools, it can build you. I'm grateful for your attendance of our today's session. Remember, this session always takes place here every Tuesday, starting from 8:30 to 9:30. And as we see our time has elapsed, I will say sorry. And I understand that those who have some few inputs regarding our today's session, remember, we have the next Tuesday, and we are going to have a topic in relation to the same, whereby we are going also to delve much on such matters that we've been discussing. Let's continue supporting one another, showing empathy, and prioritizing mental wellness. Thank you for joining us for Mental Health Tuesday. I've been your moderator, Mahmoud Ali. Stay safe, stay grounded, and see you in the next session. God bless you and good night.
Thank you and good night.